Casinos want you to believe every outcome is pure chance, ruled by flawless algorithms and unbreakable math. But what if the real advantage was not hidden behind code, but in patterns, timing, and human habits only insiders can spot? Former employees discovered that millions could be won, not by cheating the system, but by exploiting what casinos count on most: how players think, when they play, and the mistakes they repeat. The truth is, these so-called secrets are all around you, invisible unless you know where to look. So, how did insiders learn to see what no player ever does? That is where the story begins. Every slot machine and digital table game on a casino floor runs on a core of certified randomness. At the heart of these games sits a random number generator, an algorithm tested in specialized labs like Gaming Laboratories International, following standards such as GLI 11. These labs put each system through a battery of statistical tests: chi-square, runs, serial correlation, and more. The goal is simple: prove that every outcome is unpredictable, independent, and immune to manipulation. If a game fails even one test, it never makes it to the floor. The code itself is locked and tracked by unique digital signatures, or hashes, registered with regulators. Changing the random number generator, or the underlying game math, is not a menu option. It is a process that demands a new round of testing, new signatures, and fresh regulatory approval. In Nevada, for example, any change to the payout percentage or algorithm requires 7 days of machine idle time, detailed audit logs, and notification to the Gaming Control Board. New Jersey mandates dual authentication and a digital trail kept for a full year. These rules are designed to prevent on-the-fly tweaks or secret switches during play. The randomness is not just a claim, it is measured, logged, and locked in place. Each spin, each hand, is determined by a number drawn from a pool that resets every microsecond, seeded from unpredictable sources. There is no memory, no pattern, no way for the geek machine to know what happened before or to adjust for what is coming next. For insiders, this was the first lesson. The system's core is mathematically bulletproof. The real opportunities did not come from hacking the code. They came from understanding everything that happens around it. Casino floors run on a strict set of controls that define exactly what can and cannot be changed on a gaming machine. The core random number generator and payout math are locked down by regulators, but each machine still offers a menu of approved options like different denominations, payback settings, and bonus structures. These options are not secret levers, they are part of a certified package, and every adjustment is tightly regulated. In Nevada, for example, switching the payback percentage on a slot is not just a button press. The machine must sit idle for 7 full days before a new setting can take effect. Any play during that period resets the timer. Every change is logged with a timestamp, the old and new values, and the ID of the technician who made it. These logs are stored for at least 90 days and can be pulled at any time by auditors or regulators. New Jersey takes a different approach. There, a technician needs both a physical key and a supervisor's PIN to enter the service menu. The system records every change in tamper-proof logs, which are kept for a year. Any adjustment to the payback percentage requires pre-approval from the Division of Gaming Enforcement and must be followed by a reconciliation report within 72 hours. Denomination changes are easier, but still logged and monitored. Manufacturers build machines with a set of certified configurations. Casinos can choose among these, but they cannot invent new ones or alter the underlying math. Even the process of changing a setting is designed to leave a digital trail. Every action is tracked, every menu access recorded. Regulators require that any major change, like a shift in payback above a certain threshold, be reported in advance. The idea is to eliminate the possibility of on-the-fly tweaks or hidden switches. The system is engineered to keep the edge visible and verifiable, not adjustable in the shadows. For insiders, the real insight was this: the rules around configuration are as rigid as the math itself. If there is a weak spot, it is not in the code or the menus. It is in how the games are offered, scheduled, and played. Miguel spent years watching the floor from the pit. Every night the energy shifted as the schedule rolled over and the pace of games changed. The rotation system kept dealers moving every 20 to 30 minutes. 3 tables, then a break, then back again. It wasn't just about giving staff a rest. The casino tracked every hand, every minute, measuring how quickly the chips moved and how much action each table generated. During peak hours, management assigned the fastest, sharpest dealers to the busiest pits. More hands per hour meant more bets, and more bets meant more exposure to the house edge. On a Friday night, a blackjack table could run through twice as many hands as it would in the slow, midday lull. Miguel could see it on the dashboard. The average hands per hour spiked from 55 in the afternoon to over 80 after 9 p.m. The difference added up quickly. A regular playing $25 a hand might see 1,200 hands in a 4-hour session at night, compared to just 700 in the afternoon. The math was simple. Faster games multiplied the casino's advantage, even though the rules never changed. Miguel remembers one week when a high-stakes regular always showed up right after the late show let out. The pit filled up fast, and the rotation tightened. Dealers barely had time to reset before the next shift. The casino's internal reports flagged those windows, short bursts where the action and the swings both intensified. Sometimes the house won big, sometimes a player hit a streak, but the volume always favored the casino in the end. Miguel never saw a rigged deck or a hidden switch, just a relentless focus on keeping the tables moving and the bets flowing. The real risk wasn't in the cards, it was in the clock. The longer and faster you played, the more you gave the house its edge. For Miguel, that was the secret most players missed. The schedule, not the cards, shaped their fate. The next section would show how similar windows appear on the slot floor, where volatility and timing create their own patterns. Lena's first days as a slot technician began in the back room, staring at a wall of dashboards. Every hour the system pulled coin-in and coin-out data from hundreds of machines, breaking down the casino's win rate by bank, by zone, by the clock. On paper, each game had a fixed payback: 92%, 94%, whatever the certified setting allowed. But when Lena ran the hourly reports, the numbers never lined up in neat rows. Some banks showed negative hold for the house, meaning players had actually won more than they wagered in that window. Others spiked to double the expected hold, draining bankrolls with no big jackpots to soften the losses. The volatility was everywhere. A single high-denomination slot could swing thousands in either direction in just an hour, all while the underlying math stayed locked and untouched. Lena learned to expect these wild swings, especially on high-variance games with bonus features. One late-night session could wipe out a day's profit, only for the same bank to roar back by sunrise. The casino's accounting system, built around the SAS protocol, logged every meter change in real time. Coin in, coin out, jackpots, and errors fed into the central database, and every shift ended with a fresh set of internal hold reports. Lena's favorite anomaly came from a week when the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. slot window kept showing negative hold across 3 banks. The machines were not malfunctioning. The player mix had shifted. Night owls chasing bonuses, a few lucky streaks, and just enough volatility to throw the numbers out of balance. By the end of the week, the swings had evened out, and the bank's hold settled right back near its theoretical target. For Lena, the lesson was clear. Hot and cold streaks were not signs of secret switches or hidden modes. They were the natural result of short-term variance inside a system designed for long-term predictability. The real secret was knowing that every snapshot, every hour, every shift could look wildly different from the next, even when the math never changed. The casino watched these windows closely, not to cheat, but to understand how volatility and timing shaped the flow of money across the floor. Jade dealt cards for 6 years, and in that time, she learned the casino floor was more than just lights and luck. It was a carefully engineered environment built to keep people playing. The air never felt stale, the lights never too harsh, and the absence of clocks or windows meant it was easy to lose track of time. Free drinks arrived just as players started looking restless, delivered by staff trained to spot when someone might be thinking of leaving. Jade noticed how the loyalty system nudged players with subtle prompts, an alert when someone was just a few points away from the next tier, a friendly reminder that a little more play could unlock better perks. Most players took the bait, believing they were getting something for nothing, not realizing the system was designed to draw them in for longer sessions and higher bets. She watched regulars fall into predictable patterns. Some would chase losses, doubling their bets after every defeat, convinced they were due for a win. Others stayed glued to the table long after their plans stopped, lured by the promise of comped meals or hotel upgrades. For the casino, these behaviors were gold. The longer someone played, the more likely the house edge would grind them down. The comp system rewarded time and volume, not actual winnings. And Jade quietly advised friends to set strict limits and ignore the pressure to keep going for points. Behind every smile and every complimentary drink was a calculation. The environment, the rewards, even the music, all worked together to keep players engaged and emotionally invested. Jade saw that the real game wasn't at the table. It was in the way the casino shaped habits, encouraging the very mistakes that made its business thrive. Jared spent most nights in a windowless room, surrounded by banks of monitors and a wall of silent data feeds. Every table, every slot, every cashier cage was under constant watch, but the real work happened in the software, layers of analytics running quietly behind the scenes. The system was trained to spot what the human eye might miss: a sudden spike in bet size, a run of outsized wins, or a pattern of play that did not fit the player's usual profile. Algorithms flagged these as statistical anomalies, comparing live action to the vast history of normal play. If a regular who usually bet $25 suddenly pushed out $500 chips, or if a new face started winning far above expectation, an alert would ping the console. But not every alert was a sign of cheating. Jared learned to read the context. Was this a known high roller, a tourist on a lucky streak, or something more calculated? Surveillance did not just rely on thresholds, it needed human judgment. The software could tune its filters, adjusting sensitivity to avoid false alarms from regulars or promotional events. Sometimes a flagged session was nothing more than variance. Other times it signaled a deeper pattern, collusion, chip dumping, or advantage play. Jared remembers the night he overrode an alert for a longtime local whose bets spiked during a birthday comp session. The system had flagged the profile, but the history told a different story. Discretion could mean the difference between a quiet review and a costly false accusation. Even with the most advanced detection tools, invisibility was not about hiding from the cameras. It was about blending into the expected noise of the data. For insiders, the safest path was always to stay within the bounds of normal variance, never drawing the kind of attention that triggered a second look. Sam's first real break came while analyzing player data across 12 segments. The casino's dashboard wasn't just a wall of numbers. It mapped every dollar, every session, every bet, sorted by time, player type, and game. On one side, the high-volume weekend crowd, tourists drawn to branded slots, and big progressive jackpots, logging marathon sessions that stretched well into the early morning. Their average hold percentage, over a quarter, hovered near 11%. On the other, weekday regulars, mostly locals, who played short, steady sessions on lower denomination machines and classic video poker. Their realized hold, after accounting for comps and promotional credits, dropped to just 3.5%. Sam pulled up a color-coded overlay showing each cohort's net loss per session, tracked by hour and game type. The difference was stark. Cohort A, playing Friday and Saturday nights, lost nearly 3 times more per session than Cohort B, who stuck to midweek afternoons. It wasn't just luck or game selection, session length and timing multiplied the effect. The system flagged these patterns automatically, feeding them into marketing algorithms that tailored offers and raised limits for the most profitable groups. The data showed that the house edge, while fixed in the math, played out very differently depending on how and when people played. Internal reports confirmed the trend. A single high-stakes group could account for a quarter of the casino's monthly win, even though they made up less than 10% of active players. Meanwhile, disciplined, low-volume players often saw their losses nearly erased by tiered rewards and cashback. Sam found himself staring at the numbers, realizing that the edge wasn't a single, universal force. It was a moving target, shaped by behavior, timing, and the choices that most players never saw. Sam sat in a conference room, staring at a wall of numbers projected onto the screen. The dashboard showed each player's segment: high rollers, locals, weekend tourists, broken down by losses, comps, and net profit per hour. Management circled the high-value groups in red. These were the players who lost the most, played the longest, and responded to every offer. Sam's job was to find ways to turn those numbers even higher. A debate broke out over loss rebate promotions. Marketing argued that promising 10% cashback on losses kept the biggest spenders loyal, even if it meant refunding thousands after a rough weekend. Finance pushed back, warning that some players used rebates to chase losses, digging themselves deeper. Bumgo pulled up a case. One VIP lost $42,000 in a month, then received $4,200 in free play. The next weekend, he doubled his bets, lost even more, and triggered another round of offers. The system called it yield optimization. Sam called it a feedback loop. The tension in the room was thick. Some executives saw nothing wrong. After all, the rules were clear, and every offer was above board. Others worried about crossing a line. Regulators had begun asking for documentation on how loss rebate programs were marketed, especially to players flagged for risky behavior. Internal emails bounced between departments, debating whether to tighten the thresholds or keep pushing the most profitable segments. Sam wondered where responsibility ended, with the player making the bet or the casino designing the incentive. The numbers didn't lie. The most disciplined segments, those who played short sessions, ignored tier offers, and cashed out early, barely registered as profitable. The rest, nudged by personalized offers and loyalty perks, accounted for the bulk of the casino's win. For Sam, the data was more than a business report. It was a map of where profit and ethics collided, and the lines were anything but clear. Casinos thrive on patterns, yours, not theirs. Today, every hand and spin is tracked, every habit analyzed, turning human behavior into profit. The real edge is not in beating the system, it is in recognizing when the odds quietly shift against you. As casinos get smarter, so must the players. Sometimes the best way to win is knowing exactly when to walk away. What would you do with that knowledge?